to everybody. We are now at the third lessons on the corporate scenarios and strategies of international business development for SMEs. And we are going to talk about corporate strategy and exporting. I remind you that these lessons can result good for entrepreneurs as well as for bankers, which are supposed to support entrepreneurs in their internationalization activities. The outline of the lessons are the following: choosing markets, identifying appropriate markets, problems with market screening, market segmentation, entering international markets, agents and distributors. As a firm moves through the internationalization stage, unusual things can happen to both risk and profit. Okay, we saw already that going into a foreign market is not an easy walk. It needs a lot of experience, you need a lot of advice, and it's an exercise not for every kind of company. So once this firm, which has decided to go international, moves into this path, can face some risk, but also some opportunities. Why? Domestically, the firm has gradually learned about the markets and therefore managed to decrease its risk. It goes without saying that companies are established basically at the very beginning for coping with the domestic market needs, so they do build up experience, and having experience, they are capable to reduce the risk of entrepreneuring. In the course of the new internal expansion, the firm encounters new and unfamiliar factors, increased risk. Okay, moving out, approaching new markets, approaching new customers, approaching new rules, increase, of course, the risk for the company, and this is part of the game. If you want to play outside your country, outside the geographical and economical areas you born, you have to learn how to manage risks. In the longer term, increasing familiarity with international markets and the benefit of serving diversified markets will decrease the firm's risk below the previous domestic-only level and increase profitability as well. This is what we said. Why should I go outside? Why should I go and facing some new risk? Basically for increasing profitability, where increasing profitability sometimes means maintaining profitability, as we have seen that in mature markets, for different reasons, sometimes there is no longer the possibility for a firm to keep on being profitable. So sometimes to go abroad is a must. Sometimes also it is a must for those companies which have been established in very small, limited countries or regions. So they have to, if they want to keep on to be profitable, if they want to increase profitability, they have no other choice than going outside, becoming an international company. The more advanced and experienced the firm, the lower the perception of risk and cost of exporting, in the higher the perceived benefits. Now, for bigger firms, for firms which have already made experience in handling foreign transactions, they have less perception of risk, and they know better how to handle this risk, and they are in a position to maximize the exporting benefits. So it is an exercise which requires time, support, and experience. It's not something that you can do out of the blue in the morning. You should prepare yourself for this process. And you have to monitor very deeply the risk involved. So you have to think also to structure yourself, and you have to be seconded by a capable bank which can help you in handling the risk that we are going to see. In the short run, however, managers may face an unusual and perhaps unacceptable situation, rising risk accompanied by decreasing profitability. You know, to go abroad, it is an investment, and like in many other cases, when you start investing, it's not that profits are coming immediately. So the investment, the economical investment, the human and financial resources you have to put in place for going international at the very beginning could lead to a decrease in profitability. But this is not a surprise if you consider this as an investment. But the manager should be prepared to this, and they have to make programs, steady programs, giving a determined period of time during which they are investing in order to promote the capacity of the firm of going abroad. This is a consolidated situation which should not bring frustration with it, but encourage monitoring only. As I said, this should be part of a program which is decided and approved by the top management of the company, and which is known to the bank with whom the company does bank with. This is important, the dialogue between the firm and his own bank, as most probably the corporate relationship manager that is following the relationship with the firm, he wants to see an increase of profitability of the company, like the ownership and the management. But if everybody knows that the company is investing for becoming an international-oriented company, and for a certain determined period of time profit will decrease, nobody will be getting too much surprised. Understanding the internationalization stages together with the behavior of risk and profitability can help the management of the firm to overcome the cost of going international by realizing that the negative developments are only short-term. This is the issue. This is the issue that has to be known to everybody inside the company and at the bank. And this has to be only for a short term. Now, what's the meaning of a short period of time? That is not a precise issue, as penetration in different markets depends on market situation, where you are located, what is the kind of product you have. But for giving you some ideas, cannot be shorter than 1 year, and normally should not be longer than 3 years. If you want to penetrate markets like China or the Russian Federation or Brazil, you should expect that what you have to do to your production, to your stuff, the preparation of the communication material, etc., is going to take you some time. And these and also other factors like to be in possession of marketing information on very wide markets takes much longer if you are just intending to export to a country where you are nearby and you know better, or for some reason you know already. Anyway, the issue is that the management should not be shocked about seeing profitability going down at the very beginning. The bank should be aware about this, and the bank should be prepared to sustain the company during this period of time during which the company is investing for becoming an international company. Yet export success does require the firm to be a risk taker, and firm must realize that satisfactory export performance will take time. Now, the risk that the company should be prepared to take is to invest and not selling, investing in finding an agent, and perhaps the very first agents found will not be results so successful as expected. They should be prepared to invest in transforming the products. By the time that they get more familiar to the market of destination of the products, sometimes they will realize that they have to make a little changes on production. And changing the production, it is a cost that will not immediately generate profit. These are the kind of risks that the company should be prepared to take, and in most of the cases, at the end, they will be producing also economical results. This satisfactory performance can be achieved in 3 ways: export effectiveness, efficiency, competitive strength. The capacity of the company of becoming exporter or importer, as I want to remind you that I'm using much more the concept of export, but in many cases these can be used also for the import side, or in both situations, importing firstly and exporting. The efficiency of the company means to be ready and fast in making those changes which the new market of destination requires. And the strength of being competitive outside the market, the domestic market, which is the known one. Now we are choosing the markets, how to choose and which market to be chosen. Choosing which market to enter is a key strategic decision. It goes without saying. The very first thing is to be capable to choose the market you want to enter, the new market outside your country. In some cases, this will mean choosing a country or a group of countries. You know, in terms of economy of scales, whenever it is possible, it's better to choose a group of countries more than a single country. I will be giving you one example. If you choose Poland as a country where to export, Polish is spoken only in Poland, and so the investment you are making on communication will be only one shot. If you choose a market like Portugal, Portuguese is then spoken in a variety of other nations, Brazil, which is the biggest one, but not only Brazil. So the investment you are making on communication will be available also for exploring other markets. In other cases, it will mean choosing a market segment that crosses national and even cultural boundaries. This requires research and marketing capability, which normally they do not belong to the small and medium-sized enterprises, which are those which have in the picture today. But in certain areas, in certain products, if you decide to market a segment of customer, let's say dressing, young people dressing, there is this tendency of globalization. So if you make a nice T-shirt for young people, for teenagers, you may count that these T-shirts will be suitable for different nations, for different customers. It's not easy, as you have to find simultaneously channels of distribution in different countries, but if you have a very, very attractive products, the demand of marketing and promotion of the product itself will be less. So it's good also to take into consideration this hypothesis to choose market segments more than a single or a group of countries. Firms contemplating to go international need to determine the regional economic grouping, individual countries, and specific market segment. So, okay, we are there. We have a certain situation which is leading us to go abroad. We have to find out if we should go nation by nation, regional, or to go by market segment. And this is something that has to be done internally. The management of the company has to do it. And it is also another sector where the bank can easily support the company in making these evaluation. Why the bank? The bank has experience with other customers. The bank is in possession of updated information on markets. So the bank has easy and cheap access to information which may be, or better, they are in need to the company for making this decision. In principle, every country in the world is a candidate for market entry. This is true, but it is also partially true. It depends very much on the product you have, as sometimes not all the product can be easily exported from a country to another country. I mean, if you are in European Union, it will be very easy for anybody to export within the European Union, where there are agreements among the countries. But if you are in European Union and you want to export to United States of America or to the Russian Federation, depending on the production you have to come across certification, custom duties, etc. But in large terms, any country is good for export. At any rate, it is necessary to reduce the list of possibilities to manageable dimension, in particular, vis-à-vis the strength of the firm. Okay, it goes without saying that the targets, the objective, the capacity of a company of going abroad depends very, very much on the strength of the firm. How big you are, how many people you have, which are the competences and the knowledge of the people which are working within the company, and how much and how many human and financial resource you can put on the table for achieving this target of getting internationalized. Now, let's see, identifying appropriate markets, how we can identify the best market for our company. Identifying appropriate markets involve screening countries against a series of factors. Let's see which are the factors. Some factors will be more relevant to some companies than will others, but the key areas are as follows. Market size, structure of the population, economic development. You know, we said market size. I know what my production is, how big it is. So first of all, I have to identify what is the best size of market I am going to talk. If I do produce few thousand of items, probably a market like the Russian Federation or Brazil or China will result too big for me. And so I will downscale my appetite to the size of the market I can satisfy. The structure of the population. Okay, here information are easily available. If I do produce something cheap that is good for many, or if I do produce luxury item and these luxury item are directed to very few people. So analysis of the structure of the population. Then economic development of the country where I want to export. If I have information through my bank or through other kind of sources that the country of destination is a growing country in terms of economy, I can try to push a product that is not perhaps the cheapest available in the world. If I have information that the country is under recession, probably I will either refrain from pushing my products there, or I will probably create a second line with a cheaper price. These are the thoughts that the management and the entrepreneurs have to make when evaluating the destination for production. Income and wealth is the same. I have to be aware. I have to collect information. What is the average income of the people living in the country where I want to export? What is the wealth available in the country? Otherwise, you know, it's useless to go and propose luxury item if the country has a very relatively small income. Which are the business environment and practices? This is quite important, as you know, sometimes distribution is subject to license, distribution is a monopoly, distribution needs sponsor, etc. So I have to collect this information, evaluating the information either directly or through my bank, and then getting in possess of practices the common practices of the debt market, so not to take the risk of not exporting, not getting paid for the simple reason that I was not aware. Storage and transport facilities, depending on the production I have to take into consideration if they have to store, how they have to be transported, which transport facilities are available, train, lorries, trucks, whatever, refrigerated, no refrigerated. Last but not least, what are the local competitors? Nice ideas are not coming to a single person alone. So it may be that while I am thinking to export my production, there is somebody else in another country that is thinking the same, or there is already a local production of the same kind of item. So I should really understand what sort of competition I'm going to face there. Maybe quality competition, maybe price competition, maybe combined or a mix of the two. Which are the problems with market screening? The high cost of gathering information, the vast number of potentially relevant variables and difficulties of deciding which ones are critical. Now, the high cost of gathering information, I said before, if you have the support of your bank, if you have the support of the industrial association you belong, these costs can be decreased. Or if you have somebody inside your company that is quite good in using internet, you can have a lot of information mostly for free. Anyway, it is a cost. It is a cost, but it is also an investment, as if you do not gather information, you can get surprises which are costing you even more. Then the variables sometimes get so many that is becoming very difficult to decide where to go, what to do, which product. But this is not an obstacle, and once you find out which are the motivation for you to go abroad, probably you will be finding also a solution, and the degree of weight you can give to these variables. The extent and frequency of dramatic changes in foreign market condition. Now, we have seen that there are some unpredictable factors in certain areas of the world, which sometimes they do result also repetitive. But if you are simply an exporter or an importer, and what you are exporting is basically goods, and they are paid in a short time, I think that thanks to the support and the advice of your bank, you can monitor your risk in a forecastable future, meaning 6 months, 1 year time. There are always surprises as you do have also in domestic market. As if we think to the situation in the Mediterranean areas, speaking about the Maghreb, is not that what has been happening in Tunisia and in Egypt has been affecting only those which were exporting or importing from those two countries. Also those which were operating in the domestic market has been affected. Anyway, it is true that to monitor a risk that is originated outside your country is not so easy like to monitor something that happens inside your country. But again, there are tools and entities which are supporting these activities, and the bank industry is one of the most important players to refer. Data for certain countries are rapidly obsolete. That is true. Either they are obsolete or are too old. You know, not all the countries are so prompt in distributing information on macroeconomic factors. So sometimes you have very old data, or sometimes the data you get are already old by the time that you start evaluating them. Anyway, if we have to say something here, if you have a look to the trend more than the punctual data, I mean, trends are not varying so rapidly, normally, I'm saying. As nowadays, we are facing a situation where things are changing overnight. But anyway, the tendency data are those you have to refer. Market segmentation. Some foreign consumer will be more interested in buying the firm's product than others. We said to that, you know, if you directed your production to female, to young people, to men, older, elder, etc. So you have to study, and I think that success or unsuccess of your production in the domestic market is going to drive you in the right decision. So it is necessary to discover the type of person most likely to purchase the firm's output in terms of such variables as age, sex, income, family size, living standard, lifestyle, buying habits, attitude, and geographical location. We spoke already about this. You know, the same kind of evaluation you have been doing for local domestic market will be those you have to do with regard to the possibility of your production to be sold outside your country. If you have a domestic market campaign or production based on age and sex, you should do the same kind outside your country. I mean, one of the mistakes is to have two kinds of companies within the same company. Meaning what you are doing and you are successfully doing towards your country can be easily exported only by doing little changes, but not dramatic changes. With dramatic changes, I stress, if you are producing luxury item, okay, fine. Find a country which has appetite for luxury item. Do not change your production to a cheaper category for going to that market, especially if you are a small and medium-sized company. But also here, rely on the advice of your bankers. Entering international markets. Decision concerning the mode of a firm's entry in particular foreign markets are among the most crucial important. Okay, how to enter? We said before, a small and medium-sized company has not the capacity of having a physical direct presence in foreign countries. So they have to find alternatives manner of promoting and selling the production. I'm saying promoting and selling the production, but it stands also for promoting the import of certain items. As you know, I want to stress again, we have not to forget that in many cases, companies which are exporting are they themselves importer of raw material or accessories or parts. The options for entering foreign markets are roughly this: exporting, use of agents and or distributor, joint venture with foreign firms. Okay, exporting, we said already a lot about this. Exporting, importing is the basic starting point of foreign trade. Use of agents and distributor. the most common way. We say the small enterprise has no capacity of being physically present, so they use agents or distributor for promoting their production. Joint venture with the foreign firms is quite an evolute way of being present. Means to find a partner, to have a common objective, and together with the local partner to be on the market. Joint venture may be that you export semi-ready items, which then are finished locally and sold on the market, or vice versa, you import semi-ready items which are completed by your firm and then re-exported. Licensing and franchising is a very evolute way of being present in a foreign country, and I don't think is here at present now something that may be of interest to small and medium-sized enterprises. Direct marketing with internet depends very much on what you are selling. It is a quite cheap and very innovative way of selling. It needs a lot of knowledge with regard to logistic factor, transport and export issues. But if you are producing light goods and merchandise, can be really a nice way for starting, being known abroad and presenting your products before having then agents or distributors locally. Criteria for selecting an option. The business financial resources, easy communicates with intermediaries, agents, consortium, buyers, local constraint on licensing arrangement. Okay, as we said, what to choose, what to do is basically on what you can put on the table in terms of human and financial resources. The capacity you have of dialoguing with your agents, and the local constraints on license. We say that from time to time, certain items can be sold abroad only if you are in possess of a license. If you are not in possess of a license, you cannot sell them. Most typical example is alcoholic or foodstuff. Last but not least is the kind of experience you have already had in operating abroad. The size of margins taken by intermediaries in some countries, that is very important. Sometimes agents and distributors are asking huge margins, and by this margin, not always the profitability of selling abroad is kept high enough to justify. Tariffs level and barriers. And this is peculiar of some countries which are using custom tariffs as barriers for protecting internal market. So it's something that has to be monitored and known. Competition, of course, we said already, if there is already a strong competition made by local entities, it's useless to think to go. Protection of patents, that's another item that is normally utilized for protecting local production from foreign production. And lastly, we are going to see what's the difference between agents and distributors. The main difference is centered on the property of goods. Distributors buy, then agents don't. So, thank you.